What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with some more news. Join us now as we look at the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including Logan Paul versus Roman Reigns, CM Punk sucker punched a buck, is Vince McMahon in for the Hall of Fame next year, a new Jeff Hardy is coming, Triple H has surprises planned, why Bray Wyatt hasn't returned, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Also check out Wrestlelamia.co.uk and our non-wrestling channel, Incredible. And now let's do the intro and get straight into our first story. Our first story looks at Logan Paul main event plans. Atop of today's news is a story that has to be called simply shocking, as Meltzer discussed who Roman Reigns is reportedly wrestling. It appears WWE is building to a Reigns vs Logan Paul match. They did an angle on Paul's podcast, and this leads to Paul appearing on SmackDown on 16 September in Anaheim. Unless things have changed and he's added to the 8th October show in Philadelphia, and Reigns has never been advertised for that show, his next title defense was to be in Saudi Arabia on 5th November. Unless this was a late addition, this would answer the question as to why Reigns had to win in the company's eyes at Clash at the Castle. A Logan Paul vs Roman at Crown Jewel, which is worth noting is speculation, would give Reigns a fresh opponent who's also a mainstream celebrity. While it's doubtful Paul would defeat Reigns, the match could be entertaining. Paul has shown an amazing learning curve, and he could play the proverbial gutsy underdog. One thing that's worth mentioning is that we disagree with Meltzer's observation that the match explains Reigns' win over McIntyre at Clash at the Castle. Keeping the title on Reigns so he can defend it against Paul is nonsensical, as it makes zero sense for Paul to be the person to defeat Reigns, or that Paul would be an even credible champion, at least at this point in his WWE career. Next up is Triple H giving an ultimatum to Roman Reigns. Has the WWE figured out a way to take the championship off Roman Reigns without him losing a match? Well, that's the theory being put forth by the news site Zero News, which tweeted, "One idea being thrown around at WWE for the belt situation is simply Hunter appearing on TV and making the demand. Work Raw or hand over the belt. This protects Roman from being pinned, then the tournament can begin for the new WWE champion." And we think this is an interesting theory, and given the ongoing rumors that the USA Network wants a World Championship back on Raw, it's one method for bringing the title back. Nonetheless, Triple H prides himself on being a student of the grappling game, and one would think there's a better way to get the belt off Roman while maintaining his undefeated streak. Next up, CM Punk sucker punched a buck. Now here's the latest on the all-out backstage broil between CM Punk and company, a case that continues to intrigue wrestling fans with its drama and future implications for those involved. This week's Observer is reporting that while there haven't been many new details about the incident, apparently everyone agrees about Punk's actions. Both sides in every version is that Punk threw the first punch, that a fight broke out, and the guy hit Nick Jackson in the eye with a chair very hard and bit Omega and pulled his hair. The motivations from the Punk side were that they believed a fight was going to happen and punches would be thrown, so he beat them to the inevitable punch that the claim is Matt Jackson was going to throw. Although it sounds like Punk threw the first punch, there's a different side of why he threw the first punch. Those close to the other side labelled it as a sucker punch. From the Steel standpoint, it was about protecting his wife, who had a broken foot and was in the room, although escalating the fight and using a weapon has to be questioned for a producer with that in mind with his wife in the room. Now we'll continue following this story as the wrestling world awaits the results of AEW's independent investigation into the fracas. Next up, Vince McMahon in the 2023 Hall of Fame. Is Vince McMahon being inducted into next year's Hall of Fame class? Well, the US Sun recently reported Vince may not be completely done with the WWE. There are discussions about how to pay tribute to his achievements of turning the small-town wrestling biz into a global business venture. Fans may not always have liked the way he handled storylines and treated some talent, but his efforts to take the spot to the world cannot be underestimated. If the story is accurate, and currently it should be seen as nothing more than a rumor, it suggests that WWE would like to give Vince a big send-off after his abrupt retirement. His departure was pretty unceremonious in terms of the business behind the scenes, but the sport is about fans, and as controversial as it may seem, there are fans who feel he deserves a send-off. Now at this moment in time, the suggestion of any kind of celebration seems impossible and would spark potential backlash. Unfortunately, the nature of the circumstances around McMahon's hasty retirement could linger into 2023, making it difficult for the WWE to celebrate McMahon's contributions to the wrestling world. With any luck, the WWE's investigation into Vince's alleged misconduct will have concluded, and WWE officials can make a fully informed decision. Do you think Vince should go into the Hall of Fame? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, a new Jeff Hardy. Well, Matt Hardy is telling fans to get ready for the new Jeff Hardy. However, what does that mean, and should fans expect too much given Jeff's well-documented history of personal demons? During the recent episode of his podcast, The Extreme Life of Matt Hardy, Matt discussed teaming with Jeff and Wardlow to go after AEW's Trios Championship. That sounds great, pretty exciting. We're getting close to the point where we meet the new Jeff and we figure out his future and what he ends up doing. I'm pretty excited because I feel like his mentality is that he knows that he has to make changes and do what's right, and I feel he's at the point where he will this time around. I'm excited to have him back, and I think teaming with Jeff and Wardlow would be amazing. It would be so much fun. Although Wardlow is known for teaming with FTR, Matt said the current TNT champion is apparently pumped up at the thought of teaming up with the legendary Hardy Boys. The question of whether Jeff should jump back into the ring has to be answered in light of Jeff's recent DUI arrest. Is wrestling the right environment for Jeff right now? It's a question only he can answer. However, that's not the only question, as some fans feel Jeff is so banged up that wrestling is a bad idea. First, there's a question of how Jeff will cope with the constant pain he's said to be in. Second, there's a question of whether Jeff can compete at the level he wants to without risking his safety and or that of his opponents. What do you think of the ideas of Hardys and Wardlow chasing after the Trios Championship? Next up, don't ever expect to see this wrestler back. I don't count on seeing Velveteen Dream, aka Patrick Clark, back in the WWE ever. Dream's recent arrest is just the latest example of his alleged misbehavior, and according to Fightful Select, some in WWE see him as a headache and have concerns about his past unusual behavior. Next up, Triple H has surprises planned. Our fans enjoying Triple H's booking of the WWE may be excited to hear that the game isn't finished providing fans with more surprises, particularly when it comes to fresh faces in the WWE. Meltzer recently reported, "We were told that Paul Levesque has some surprises coming who are not people being talked about." If a promoter can establish the idea that fans never know when to expect the unexpected, it can steady or increase ratings, as fans don't want to miss out on the chance of being surprised. On the other hand, it also raises expectations, and the law of diminishing returns can lead to disappointment over weak surprises or worse, hot-shotting by promoters. As we've noted before, there's still a remarkable range of wrestlers who are free agents. However, will Triple H find himself repeating AEW President Tony Khan's mistake of hiring too much talent? Next up, why Bray Wyatt hasn't returned. Well, Meltzer discussed the ongoing rumors of Wyatt's WWE comeback. Regarding talk of Wyatt returning, there were definitely talks in that direction. At one point the talks stalled, but it was said it was not a dead issue. Talks with him outside WWE have also stalled in the past, as his asking price was well above what other companies were willing to pay. When he was last in WWE, the belief was that behind Reigns and Lesnar, that the tier of he, Orton and Rousey were the highest paid pro wrestlers in the world. Now, if the story is accurate, it sounds as if Wyatt has a good idea of what his value is to the WWE. The case can be made that Bray is worth every dollar he's asking for, and that the WWE's failure to properly utilize him shouldn't diminish his asking price. And finally, MJF Shades Sheamus. And last but not least, it looks like MJF just scorched Sheamus on social media following a tweet where the Celtic Warrior posted a gif questioning just who the F MJF is. He responded with this scorcher: "The guy you alluded to. Stop now, I'm gonna devour you. You can rock 6-inch lifts, play top guy, but you've been handled a ball multiple times and fell. I'm glad you're having a resurgence and finally figured out how to get over. It only took you a decade. Took me one day." And just another reminder that while fans can't see WWE vs AEW matches, they can at least see some heat between the two on social media. But there you have it, folks, the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know. Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.